How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. And we're going to talk about the Matriarch in a first ever tips and tricks video. I haven't made one in so long because I haven't got new units recently. But I got this a few days ago, and we are going to go in and on about it. Do keep in mind, you can get this unit very early in the game if you're not lazy like I am with recruiting. You can get them probably around Chapter 2, maybe even Chapter 1 if you're really crazy, because you will have a wizard that has the coax ability, which these are very easy to get with that. You may get the male or female. This is the female version. Now, keep in mind, these tips and tricks videos, they just kind of go over the general unit, its skills, its abilities, what it's capable of, how to use it best possibly. You know, just some general advice, mostly geared towards new players. But let's get into it. So, the Matriarch. What's so cool about them? Well, they're a caster. You know, they're very similar to a wizard. They have access to the same types of spells. We got single target. We got AoE spells. You know, they also get access to lots of debuffs and conditions. So that's really handy if you want to kind of build one like that. But you probably already have a wizard that does that. So, you know, they get the same spells. They kind of have very similar stats. So what's all different? Why would I use a Matriarch over a wizard? You know, like what's so great? Well, at first glance, it might not be noticeable what makes them good. So let's go look at their skills. So we got cudgels, daggers, standard, MP increase, you know, resist, charm, petrify, coax. They can also recruit you more reptile units, so that's pretty nice. A reptile can get you more reptiles. We got meditate, we got concentration. So everything I've shown so far is what a wizard gets, but we do have some new ones. We have ivory tower, irresistible beauty, and intercession. Now, what do these do? These are different, and the wizard doesn't have access to any of these. Well, the first one is kind of meh. Force all enemy units to turn to your direction. If anybody's played the game for a relatively long enough time, you will realize that back attack and side attack damage is not scaling properly, does not really do all that much increase at all. Some people don't even say it increases damage at all. So it kind of stinks that that's not really giving the multiplier properly or working properly. But even if it did, I don't really think this skill would be that useful, because the enemy's looking at you anyway, mostly, unless you're like flanking with this unit. You're gonna run your little caster behind enemy lines to get everybody to turn around and look at it, I guess. So it's kind of a silly skill in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong and you guys can explain to me the best way to use this, but I haven't found it very useful, so I wouldn't recommend that one, so that's kind of a bummer. But intercession and ivory tower. Let's go to ivory tower. What's ivory tower do? Causes target to evade up to 2 physical attacks until next turn. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. If you got you know, melee units coming in to mess you up, you can evade 2 of them. That's pretty big. 2 guaranteed evades. And then we have intercession, which grants negate, allowing them to completely avoid the next magical effect. Includes ninjutsu and war dances. So what does negate do? Well, basically, you put a protective barrier on the unit, and the next spell or magical attack directed at the unit will be blocked completely. So this is like a magical evade, I guess you could say, if you really want to say that. But basically, other casters or things are trying to mess with you, and you get this bad boy to proc, it's not going to do anything. Now hold up, before you think this is great, do keep in mind, and before you people in the comments say this, it will prevent healing or booning or any kind of buff that is magical. That will not trigger on your unit. That'll not go off. If this is active and you try to heal or you try to buff with a spell, granted, items will still work. Items, you know, and this is another reason why items are better than healing magic, because you don't have to worry about them being negated by negate. So keep that in mind. Let's add another point to items over healing. Why clerics are not that good all the time, and you don't need them for most of the game, but that's an old topic. We talk about that all the time. Let's not get on that tangent. So yeah, do keep in mind, it'll affect positive and negative effects from spells, so be careful. Now, what about okay, so there you go. That's the Wizard and the Matriarch compared. Pretty similar. Well, I would actually pick a Matriarch over a Wizard. Why would I do that? Well, because of Ivory Tower and Intercession. Not only am I able to block magical attacks, I'm able to evade physical attacks in close range. So, you can be a little more aggressive with this unit, essentially. You can be a little bit more closer, a little bit more on the front line, you know, a little bit more in the battle, and not have to worry about A, healing the unit, which means you don't need to bring a cleric. It's a running joke here that I make fun out of clerics. I'm sorry. For those of you that are brothers of the cloth and love your clerics, I apologize. But it is really funny how little you actually need a cleric, especially through the majority of the game. So you don't need to heal it, because it's going to protect itself pretty well. Now, obviously, you're under RNG with the auto skills proccing, so hopefully they proc, you know. You even might want to, what the heck did I do to you? There we go. I don't know why I took that off. Anyway, it just has more survivability because of that. Just because of those two skills. Now, granted, the Wizard does have, hold on, before we get crazy, the Wizard does have this, Conserve RT, and they do have access to Engulf, which are both very, very good. So, you know, it doesn't totally omit the Wizard, but there's just something about having the ability to have that extra layer of defense. You know as well as I know, the AI prioritizes squishy units, and it'll prioritize units that it has an affinity bonus to over those it doesn't. So keep in mind that one way to keep a unit from getting attacked, which is something that I never really thought about until like last week that I've been using more, and I just don't have the charms, make your units light or dark. The majority of enemy units aren't going to be light or dark, which means they're not going to get an affinity bonus on you. They're just going to be affinity neutral, which means they won't prioritize. Like, if you have a lot of enemies that are, you know, fire, they're going to go prioritize your ice unit over your water unit that's over there, you know, because they're going to deal more damage just because of that little affinity bonus. So that is a little thing to consider. If it's hard to get those charms, you're not going to, like... They do take a bit to come by, especially if you're new in the game early on. But do keep in mind that is one way to avoid a little bit of damage, or at least get your unit not to look so juicy. But then again, if it can hit your unit hard, you know, it's still going to possibly prioritize it. But all in all, though, the extra defense on this unit definitely makes it useful. The extra ways to avoid damage, and the fact that it can do what a wizard can, and it can do it well, and it's perfectly viable. Like I said, the sooner you get this, the better, because as you know, you progress through the game, you're going to get more classes. It's going to be really hard to pick and choose what you like, what you want to use. But overall, the Matriarch is a great class, and I think it's definitely something people should use. Is it underrated? I don't think so. Is it overrated? I don't think so. I think it's right there in the middle. I think it's more of a preference than anything, and just if you want to have a little bit more of a defensive, a little bit more tanky, I guess, caster unit, this is a good option for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Any questions you have below, feel free to drop them. What do you think of the Matriarch? How do you use them? Do you like them at all? I don't know. You tell me. I'd be curious to see what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. Peace.